Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Oh, yeah. Well, from where I sit, let's see. January's got about 14 more hours left in it. And then we're on to February, guys. 2020. What the hell is it? 22? My God. And then February is a really short month. And then March, and in March, you know what happens? Little things start shooting out of the ground. I'm just saying. Well, as I often say on Monday, anything happen in between the last time we spoke and this moment? Dear God. Friday morning. I was oblivious. Then I got a text from a friend saying, "Are you watching? You watching local television? The bridge fell down." Yeah, wow. I have to say that a story like that has more impact on you when it's a bridge you travel often. It's a bridge you walk under often, exactly at the place where it came down. And bridge that is in your neighborhood, a major thoroughfare that you use and have used the entire time you've lived in this town. And it's incredible to me that that thing is gone. I haven't gone over and gawked. They don't want you to. Getting in the way. Pictures are astonishing enough. And truly miraculous that no one died. Miraculous. That could have been a multi-fatality event, because any of you who know the bridge know that at certain times of day you sit on it. Traffic is heavy and you sit on that bridge. All those vehicles. So I don't know if you believe in God. You're thinking, okay, you're looking out for folks that day. That bridge could have gone at any time, and it decided to go on a day when there was a 2-hour school delay. And there were only a few vehicles on it. Amazing. I mean, the shock has worn off now. If I had had a show on Friday and we were still digesting the information, I would have been, I'm not sure. I probably maybe had more to say. It's like I just sort of absorbed it now and am numb. Of all the bridges in the city, it's the one I probably know the best. Because even though I might drive across other bridges more often, I don't walk under them. So I knew that bridge looking down, and I knew that bridge looking up, and I always was amazed. I mean, that particular hunk of real estate is one of the things that I always thought, I'm so lucky to live in this city. In a city with this kind of extraordinary natural setting, right in the city, where you can walk and walk and walk and walk. Get lost. I've been lost in that park more than once. But to think, I mean, I have stood right under it and looked up, because it I don't have other experiences like that where you're under this huge piece of infrastructure, and there's all these things over your head. It never occurred to me it could fall down on me. Wow. One of the reasons that's the trail of all the trails, that's the trail I take. It is the trail that is nearest to my home, and it is also where the off-leash, one of the off-leash areas in Frick Park is. The Hot Dog Dam is what we call it. And I don't know. So today is the first Monday, rush hour, regular work day without that bridge. I hope things went relatively smoothly, but for those of you who used Forbes Avenue to commute, boy, your commute just got longer. And for all the folks who live here in the neighborhood and who live like on Dallas Avenue, I mean, your lives are changed now too, because the amount of traffic on that and on Penn is going to be huge. The impact on certain businesses, huge. Bridge is right next to the playground where my kid played Little League and where he played on the playground. I'm sorry. I'm just babbling here. It just amazing. And then you get, the information, the statistics that you don't even want to hear because they make you so uncomfortable. The reality is that you cannot drive anywhere in this city, pretty much, without crossing a bridge. And many of these bridges that we have in this city of bridges, you don't even know you're on a bridge. Now, I would argue that some people crossing the bridge that collapsed, if they're looking straight ahead, they might not even note they're on a bridge. It's just the continuation of the road. By virtue of our geography, man, we have the most bridges in Allegheny County of any county in the nation. And then, of course, you learn that a horrifying number of them got the same report card that the Fern Hollow Bridge, which is now lying at the bottom of Fern Hollow, had. Poor. And I tried to look up, where are the other poor ones? Because if I need to know, because I'm going to avoid them. I don't know about you. And I would like to see a very defined list of those bridges. The one list I found, there is one other of them that I travel easily once or twice a week, and I'm not going to do it anymore. It's going to be out of my way, but I'm doing a lot of out of my way these days. So, crumbling infrastructure. The irony, of course, of the president coming that very day to talk about that very subject is not lost on anybody. And nor is it's a no-brainer to come up with a conspiracy theory about it, since that's what some people always go to. Reality being sort of dull, you always have to have even when reality is not dull, like a bridge coming down. Ooh, but the president was supposed to come to talk about infrastructure, so let's make a conspiracy theory about it. I read somewhere that John Oliver had made jokes about another Pittsburgh bridge, which is no longer with us. Well, it's been taken down and repaired, unlike most, and that's the Greenfield Bridge, not far from the Fern Hollow Bridge, also in my neighborhood. And apparently Oliver had made fun of the fact that this bridge, which crosses over the Parkway East, right near the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, and it was coming apart at the seams for years. But I always went across it. I figured if it was dangerous, somebody would have shut it down. And it was dangerous. So they didn't shut it down, but they let us keep driving over it. But they decided, just to be safe, they would install, and this is what Oliver made fun of. And at the time, it didn't even, well, I guess it struck me as odd. They built another bridge under it. Do you remember that? It wasn't a bridge that was intended for traffic, but it looked like a bridge. Under the Greenfield Bridge, they built this other structure that was as wide as the bridge and just covered the area under the Parkway, or over the Parkway. And I remember when that thing went up, I thought, what the hell is that? And do you remember why it was put there? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that thing was just built to keep any parts of the Greenfield Bridge that might, fall from falling on an unsuspecting car driving on the Parkway. So that bridge was not a bridge so much as a net to capture the decrepit bridge above it, pieces of that bridge. I didn't see the John Oliver episode where he talked about it, but that would be fun. He obviously saw that and thought it was hysterical. We saw it and didn't think much of it, right? We live in Pittsburgh, where if you want to talk about crumbling infrastructure, we should be right up at the top. I saw a tweet that scared me a little bit. Here it is. A friend has a friend. Okay, so this is just, this is hearsay, clearly. A friend has a friend who is a bridge inspector here. He has a list of bridges he and his family are not allowed to drive on. I don't know which are on the list, but if that gives you any indication of the infrastructure issues here, that gives you an indication. Now, maybe that's an apocryphal tale, but I suspect it is not. See, this is what, stop and think about it. Your county taxes haven't gone up. Your city taxes pretty much haven't gone up. Nothing, they never raise taxes because you can't. Americans will not allow you to raise taxes. That is something Republicans have been successful in doing. But when you never raise taxes, that means you never have the resources necessary to do the dull but extremely important work of government and of maintaining a city. And the city is technically responsible for that bridge. The city doesn't have the billions upon millions of dollars to fix that bridge. As you can't raise taxes. We refuse to pay for anything anymore. And so everything's crumbling around us. Our infrastructure, our sewers, buildings. You remember the building in Florida that just went fluey once? That was amazing, huh? I read a story this weekend that says Others in Florida, in Miami, are going to come down in exactly the same way. No reason they won't. We live in a failing state because we are not willing to do the work that is required, pay for the work that is required, or we've noted many times before, we'll pay for stuff that does not in any way impact us. Any toy our military wants, for instance. But when it comes to basic stuff, like roads, boring, schools, not as boring anymore. And our former mayor, Bill Peduto, I don't know if you're aware of this or if it's been covered, but because I follow him on Twitter, I saw it. He went ballistic. It looked a little unhinged, I want to say, to Bill Peduto. And I imagine it's very hard for him since he was the mayor for 8 years. And I don't know if part of him was really upset that he wasn't there for this big national event, that he wasn't the mayor who had to run to the scene, because that's what he's done for so many years. I wondered about him. So I walked by his house all the time. I wondered, I thought, is this going down well with him? Is he freaking out that he doesn't have the ability to start working on this, to play it, to, he missed being with the president and all that kind of stuff? I don't know. I was wondering. And then I saw him explode on Twitter. He went after somebody, some woman, who I don't know. And he was screaming about people saying two things. Coming from both the I guess left and the right. He was freaking out that people were saying that if they didn't spend so much money on these stupid bike lanes and roundabouts and stuff like that nobody wants, maybe they would have had the money to repair the bridge. I did see some of those, and I thought, come on. There is no comparison between the cost of putting a bike lane, that's mostly paint, and building a bridge or repairing it. But others from, I guess he thinks his critics on the left started noting this. And again, I saw this a number of places. It said, and it apparently came from the state auditor general, but this is from 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the state's auditor general said that more than $4 billion of money meant for PennDOT to repair roads and bridges had been diverted, I believe was the verb, had been diverted to the state police. For what I'm not sure for what. But I didn't see anybody challenge that was in fact a true statement. And that's part of what Peduto went berserk about. I don't know if he's feeling like people will blame him since he was the mayor, or it's just the frustration of a wonky to-do guy who is still not comfortable not being in power. It hasn't been long. So here's part of what he said. I took a picture of it. A bridge collapses in Pittsburgh, one of 175 rated poor in the county. Immediately, extremists jump upon the conspiracy circus wagon. Police budgets stole critical funds. Abolish the police. Bike lanes, green infrastructure, and climate initiatives took priority and are to blame. Obviously, says the former mayor, both of these statements are nonsense. Now, see, I'm not sure about the nonsense of the funding being diverted from PennDOT to the police. And the abolish the police thing he threw in there is just, that's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with it. He's just suggesting that the same people, the leftists, what does he call them? Call me extremists. The extremists. I don't know. He sometimes starts sounding like a Republican. He says, obviously, both of these statements are nonsense and take away from the real debate we need to be having. Shame on any elected official or government employee who enabled this imbecilic dialogue. You don't deserve a paycheck due to your ignorance. Now, that's why I'm saying, does that sound, he sounds like a little unhinged. And how is an elected official or a government employee supposed to stop people from talking or tweeting? He felt that's why he had to say, you're all nuts, shut up. I don't know. But it makes me worry about him. Just saying, makes me worry about him. I want to take this moment to congratulate the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know if this is heresy in Pittsburgh. I suspect it might be, but I was rooting for him. How can you not root for a team that hasn't been there in forever and has been a joke for so long? I mean, that's just a team you gotta get behind, especially if your own team ain't around to do it. It's also a team that's in our neighborhood, in our little group. And I thought it was another great game. These young quarterbacks are amazing, are just amazing. And, it's true. Roethlisberger and Rodgers and who's that other guy? Oh, yeah, Brady. Man, they were great, but they're looking old. And these young, fresh-faced little, God, I could be their grandmother. I could maybe even be their great-grandmother. Amazing. And I say right now that the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. I think so. Clearly, this is their time. They know it. They're going. Just saying. I'm just saying. I've got a caller. I don't know if he's still there. I forget. Hello, if you're there.
Hello?
Oh, you're there. Hello.
I finally got through. I call and nobody answers, but whatever. What I was going to say is somebody ought to buy that Peduto guy a shaver. Enough with the beard already. It's ridiculous. I always think of that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that Santa Claus. That's what he looks like. But anyway, Bengals are going to lose. They stink. I can't stand that.
How
you
could
can
you
like
say
the Bengals?
they stink?
Really? Our
How could
rival
you
team.
say they stink?
No, they stink. They're not going to win. You know why they won yesterday? Because the other guy was off. He threw interceptions. That's why. That's why they won. And they're going to lose.
Oh, okay.
So, well,
They
whatever.
are not.
I'm not
Okay.
even watch it. I'm just.
No, you're just incorrect.
Yeah, I really don't care about it, to be honest with you. After the Steelers are out, I don't even watch football anymore. I never watch footballs. I can't stand them. But what I was going to say is, if Pittsburgh wouldn't spend so much money on stadiums, the taxpayers funded stadiums, and when they go to the games, they pay outrageous prices and pay so much for their snacks and their food. Maybe they would have money for their bridges. But you know what? Football's more important. I know it is. That's all I got to say. I just don't get that. And that's the only thing I like Jesse Ventura about, which is a goofball, I know. But he did turn down when the owner wanted to build a new stadium. No, the taxpayers aren't paying for it. And I agree with that. You shouldn't have to pay.
I agree with it, too. Yep. Okay. Bye.
Not that I
actually wrote.
News.
No, okay. Goodbye.
Good.
Bengals are going to win. So here's the other thing. Yeah, I once wrote a opinion piece for the Sunday Post Gazette saying that we, the taxpayers, should not have to pay for new stadiums. Absolutely not. Someday I'll dig it up for you because I was absolutely right. I'm often right, but I lose. I'm doing the New York Times crossword puzzle. What was this? I think Saturdays. I don't know. It wasn't Sundays. Saturdays or something. And here's a quote. Here's a clue. 30 across. Who wrote, "Who controls the past controls the future"? Who controls the present controls the past. Offhand, I didn't know it, but I had enough clues that I thought I got it. It's George Orwell. But let's go back to his pronouncement because it speaks to what the Republicans are up to. And as you know, George Orwell was sort of really prescient about autocracy and how autocrats get and maintain power. And so, listen to him again. Who controls the past controls the future. Let's just take that. What are the Republicans up to now, going berserk about? What our kids get to be taught. They're into banning books, burning books, intimidating school boards. You name it, they're doing it. Right out of the fascist playbook. Because they want to control the story of our history. Because if they can control that history, they can control the future. And the second part of his admonition is who controls the present controls the past. The reason they are able to do this is that in so much of America, Republicans do control, have the power to make pronouncements about what gets taught. They have the power of school boards, of city councils, of state legislatures. And you see state after state and school district after school district saying that you cannot teach anything that makes any kid uncomfortable. Yeah. They leave out a word, any white child uncomfortable, because black children and Asian children and Jewish children have been made uncomfortable in school from day one. And one of the things about those laws, that if the standard is you cannot make a child feel that his or her race is less or is guilty or is anything, then you cannot teach that, because you cannot make a child uncomfortable about stuff like that. Well, then I see these laws potentially being a godsend for black parents and for the parents of trans students and for the parents of anybody in a marginalized group. Because, as I said, those kids are made to feel uncomfortable by virtue of the fact that those teaching them are part of a power structure that has excluded them and their kind, or worse. So since the law couldn't say you can't make white kids uncomfortable, because these laws are what they are, well then why wouldn't parents of marginalized groups use those laws as well? It's the one thing I thought when I started seeing all of these things. Well, who's to say who gets to voice complaint about their discomfort? I have a caller. Please go ahead. Hello.
Hello, Lynn. Phil Marcus.
Hi, Phil.
Hi. I listen every day that I can. And you and I both know that 90% of the people who listen never call.
That is correct.
Of course. But I do when I'm sufficiently, aggravated, stimulated, if I hear something that I just have to throw my 2 cents at. So today, you hit the jackpot, Lynn.
I did.
You did. 2 items I want to throw at.
Okay.
First is the bridge business. You were talking about other bridges that maybe that are deficient. Have you? I'm sure you are familiar with Commercial Street that goes from Squirrel Hill down to Swiss Elm Park.
Yes.
You know the road I'm talking about? It winds.
Yes, I do.
Park.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Next time you're on that road, look up at that bridge. And a lot of people, when you're flying out of the Squirrel Hill tunnels heading east, that's another example of a bridge you don't realize is a bridge. You come out of the tunnels flying 45, 50 miles an hour, because that straightaway, they just zoom. But that bridge has been declared or determined to be, I don't know if it's poor, but it's on the schedule to be replaced within the next few years. And you know what they're going to do with that one? They're going to build another bridge next to it and slide it over, like they did with the Turnpike Bridge maybe last year. Do you remember that?
I remember reading something of this. So why are they doing that? By the way, when that happens, is that so they can keep the traffic flowing?
Yeah, that's an interstate highway. Yeah. That's classified as 376.
That's 376.
To stop that traffic would be just catastrophic. So that's what they're going to do, is slide it over. And I hope that damn one that's there now lasts until they can slide it. because it's in. Do you know how many cars traverse that? When I heard that the Forbes Avenue Bridge handles 14,000 cars a day.
Yeah, and that's an old count. I'm sure it's more than that.
Well, whatever it is, I'll believe the traffic counts if that's what they've done. PennDOT. Can you imagine what it is on that Parkway Bridge? So that's item number one. I just wanted to mention that. You heard it here first. Okay. That's going to be the first one to be replaced, hopefully. The second thing that got me is your comments about Bill, the late, great Bill Peduto. Put me in the camp that really misses him. I like him. I thought I just don't understand why we got rid of this guy. And that's not to take anything away from Ed Gainey. I don't know anything about Ed Gainey. I don't understand why we got rid of him. Peduto was a progressive, young, liberal thinking person. I thought he did a lot for this city. Go make fun, people, of the bike lanes. Guess what? We have to share the road with bicyclists. And any of us who have been behind a bicycle on a road without a bike lane and we have to creep along at 2 miles an hour, that's just tough. And that is not a reason. But I guess he's heard a lot. No, he probably, got under his skin and he had to respond. I don't subscribe to the social media thing, so I didn't. I heard about. You
didn't see the back and forth.
No,
it really blew up.
They had it. Yeah, that's what they had on one of the evening newscasts. I saw something of it, and they flashed.
Oh, they did.
Oh,
they
yeah.
covered it.
Yes, the way they covered it is, I guess you are limited to the amount of letters or words that you can put into each of those posts. So they flashed a whole bunch of his posts. They came up like tiles, and there was no time to read them. But I got the message, and I feel sorry for him. He has said many times he's got the best job in the world. He has no designs on running for any other office, a higher office or otherwise. So I just wanted to. Nobody apparently is going to come to his defense. I must be his only supporter.
Oh, no. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it, and I even agree with much of what you said. I voted for him twice, and I knew him, and I liked him, and I thought he was a wonderful mayor. I do think. And I don't want to get into a back and forth with you about it. I do think that he got less and less progressive and more sort of in the thrall of the developers and and I watched my East End totally change under his tenure, and I didn't like the way it changed. I didn't like the rising property values, the people forced out of people who had lived in East Liberty forever forced out. I know it's called progress. I find it upsetting. And I just thought he sort of went off in a more understanding the elite power structures issues than understanding regular Pittsburghers issues. And after a while, everybody sort of gets, after 8 years, it's maybe not a bad idea to try something new. And I don't know about Gainey.
You don't know about what?
Gainey either. I don't know.
Gainey. Yeah, I don't know anything. Well,
I don't know.
I've got to take you to task on that because you said maybe a week or two ago that you voted for Gainey. And when I heard you say that, okay, that's fine. But when I heard you say that, I thought, what does Lynn see that I don't?
I was doing what I do so often when I vote. I was voting on a wish and a prayer and a desire to see change.
Okay.
I did not like what, I did. I don't like what Bill did. I think what really put me over the edge was his handling of the Black Lives Matter stuff here. It really upset me.
Yeah, I hear you, but that was an impossible. Listen, what do you want from Bill? Okay, Okay. Well, I made my point. You've made yours, and
yes,
I'm listening.
and I don't want to demonize him. I do not. Because he was a good man, and he is a good man, and I think he's probably a little lost right now.
And I'll tell you one thing before you let me go. The few times that I sat in for you, and I couldn't do it on my show, the real estate show, but on your show, it was open. And I would have him or Jim Roddy and, call their press secretaries. Mm-hmm. He was very accessible, very polite on and off the air before.
Right.
And I got to feel very good about him. I still do. I miss him. That's my speech.
Okay. And I understand totally. Bye-bye, Phil. Thanks you.
Lynn. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Speaking of sort of unbelievable things that I just want to stay with local government for a second. And this is just down the road. Woodland Hills School District, which has been a troubled district. It was created in strife and trouble. Pretty much not long after I came here, and it has remained with difficulty. Did you see what they did? Their school board, the Woodland Hills School Board, I believe they hired him, right? I saw that they were going to. They just got rid of their superintendent. They fired him. And they hired an acting superintendent, a guy who lost his last job as the superintendent somewhere in Beaver County, and who had 2 DUI arrests. And they hired this guy with 2 recent DUI arrests, and who was just fired from a nearby county. After he got fired, he actually was arrested for a 3rd DUI. And the Woodland Hills School Board hired him. Talk about stuff that you can't even get your head around. I don't know anything about being a school superintendent, but I haven't had to do. I just can't even imagine how you end up hiring that guy. That's a great person to lead a school district. 3 DUIs? Jeez. Way to go, Woodland Hills. Yeah, Ray sends me another wonderful Orwell quote. This might be from his essay on the English language. He was somebody who valued words. Well, and you can see that from his writing. And he knew words could be twisted so that up is down, black is white. And Ray sent another Orwell quote. There is no swifter route to the corruption of thought than through the corruption of language. And Ray suggests that our side is banning as many books as the other. That I don't know about. There are people on both sides now who really cannot tolerate hearing something they don't agree with. And we are not the better for it. Jeez. Roger writes that 60 Minutes did a story on infrastructure a number of years ago, and Pittsburgh was the first place they went to. And they talked about the Greenfield Bridge and the fact that another bridge was built under it. I was on Facebook at the time and shared the story with my friends. All the conservatives commented that their taxes are already too high. That's right. Anti-tax, anti-government, anti-vax, anti-mask. Do they have anything to say except no? Yeah. No, they don't. They're there for power and power only, control and control only. They have no plans other than to control. Roger also says, yeah, great football. I root for all the kids and hope they don't get hurt. Yes, I'm getting old. And so, oh, I know what you mean. Oh, I know what you mean. They're so young and so beautiful, and I root for. You're right. I hate the fact that any of them lose. I know. I'm totally with you. Hang on a minute. I got something else. Bob wants me to tell you this. I really don't. Oh, no. Wendy Bell was babbling about the downfall of the Fern Hollow Bridge. Well, I got other news on Wendy Bell. Well, this is the news you sent me. Wendy Bell has found another job. Isn't that lovely? And this time, the odds are she won't get fired for saying something outrageous because she got a job with Newsmax. Newsmax is one of those so-called news opera. You can't call it news. Propaganda, right-wing propaganda outfits that positioned itself to the right of Fox. So Wendy now has a show premiering. Oh, it premiered Saturday. So she already did it. That was what she was talking about, the bridge collapse. It's called Wendy Bell Common Sense on Newsmax. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's a good fit. Good fit from our little resident racist. That's an excellent fit. Okay. Yeah. Ruth has sent, yeah, that's the thing I saw, Ruth. She sent me this list of Allegheny bridges that are got the same rating as the Fern Hollow Bridge. And I'm not sure where all this is. I'll run it right by you if you hadn't seen it. Let's see. And this, I'm going to go down the list in terms of how much traffic they have, because some of them have a great deal, like this one, and I don't know where this is. What does it say? Utes Run Culvert in Springdale. Have not a clue what that is, but it's obviously one of those bridges that maybe people don't even know they're on a bridge. With a lot of, and it's not in good shape. Forest Hills, guys, you got a few. The Ardmore Boulevard Bridge, and 75 feet northwest of Marion Avenue. Guys, in Forest Hills. I don't know what that is. South End Bridge in Bridgeville, the Charles Anderson Bridge in Pittsburgh. Which one is that? You don't want to be on it. The Charles Anderson Bridge. No offense to Mr. Anderson, who it was named after. On North Avenue and Brighton Road, apparently. What? North Avenue and Brighton Road. The bridge? Okay. Nobletown Road Bridge. I want to go on it. Penn Avenue Bridge in Robinson. State Route 60 in Marshall. State Route 910 Culvert in Monroeville. State Route 791 in Penn Hills. Old William Penn Highway in Dravosburg, McKeesport Boulevard Bridge in Carnegie, Kennywood Boulevard Bridge in Duquesne, Painters Run number 3 in Upper St. Clair, Connor Road Bridge in Bethel Park, South Negley between Center and Ellsworth. I'm on that one. That goes over the busway. Oh, geez. Okay. And State Route 50 in Scott. After that on this list is Fern Hollow Bridge, which isn't there anymore. And then the Versailles Avenue Viaduct in McKeesport. Those are the ones. Okay? Thank you. Just in case, you hadn't seen that. I'd like to know that. Dear Lord in heaven. Okay. I want to note the passing of Buck Favorini. I didn't know the guy, but I knew his work and so appreciated it. Buck Favorini was at one point, I think he was named Pittsburgher of the Year by the PG, probably. And if you're not in any way into theater, you wouldn't necessarily know him. But Buck was an award-winning playwright. He was founder of the University of Pittsburgh's Department of Theater Arts and headed it. He was a scholar and author and a good guy, and he founded the Three Rivers Shakespeare Festival, which is considered a really damn fine Shakespeare festival. And yes, it says here he was named Pittsburgher of the Year in 1989. And all he wants you to do, if you want to honor him, is buy some theater tickets and enjoy this show. We have a caller. Hello.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I used to live on Braddock Avenue, and I've been over that bridge hundreds, if not thousands of times, and underneath because I liked walking into there too.
Yes.
And part of the problem with funding for bridges is the same that Washington, D.C. came across. So you have all of these Republicans who don't live in the city, don't pay taxes, and the measly $2 they pay to their theater tickets when they drive to the Benetton doesn't cover the cost of that bridge that they use and take for granted that they don't want to support. So you have a small group of people in Pittsburgh who have to take care of all of this infrastructure that people who are rich and Republican leave the city, but still want access to the city, and there should be good bridges. So it's a never-ending battle because the people who use them are not the people who support them.
Well, and are we even allowed to, I think because of our so-called second-class status as a city, which was imposed on us by the state, that I don't even think we're allowed to try to, grab a toll from those people or tax them in some way.
Yeah, well, D.C. tried. The only state that successfully did that, or the only city that I'm aware of that successfully did that, I'm sure there are more, but London, when they had a tax just to get into the city. So, that's not going to happen because most conservatives think the city is dirty anyway, but they sure do want access to it when there's a Steeler game, and they sure do want access to it when their daughter's taking ballet at the Pittsburgh Ballet Theater. So it's that I don't want to pay, but I still want access. Drives me crazy.
And the poor beleaguered taxpayers of the city, there used to be twice as much population here, and people had good middle-class jobs in steel mills, and the tax base here was substantial. We lost half the population. We still got all the infrastructure, and again, used by, the hospitals and by the colleges and the universities and the churches, and we
Who don't
are
pay
asking.
taxes? Who
I
don't
know.
pay
That's my
taxes?
point. That's my point. They don't pay taxes, and you've got taxpayers. And Pittsburgh has a lot of poor people in it. They're supposed to pay. So the suburbanites can come in to their jobs and to get culture. You're absolutely right. It's just mind-boggling.
And I don't see a fix to any of it unless the federal government steps in and says, you know, this is Pittsburgh or needs help. And then you have the state that's the issue of just because the federal government gives the state of Pennsylvania money for our bridges, Allegheny County, doesn't mean Allegheny County is going to get it. Like Peduto said, I'm unaware of this topic, but they take the money away and put it somewhere else.
Yeah. And you know what? Because nobody's also minding the store. You know, if that's where media is so necessary. You need reporters who are actually watching what goes on. And we don't have that anymore at all of these, watching what authorities do and what every little legislative, power center does. We don't know.
But we know how many kids the Kardashians have and what's the latest stupid thing, whatever. You know what I mean? The things that we know as a population, not to criticize Jeopardy, but the things we know as a population about is not what we need to know as a society.
Well, I go back to that great statement that Chris Potter made on the show once. And this was like 20 years ago. We are an unserious people living in very serious times. Yep. And we're led that way to be unserious by our entertainment culture, which is the biggest thing going. And it's where people get their news. It's why news is really often entertainment. And
that's why the news shows in the morning. That's why the news shows in the morning are 4 hours of entertainment about.
I can't watch it.
I
don't know how anyone can watch those. How can anyone watch that crap? Yeah.
I asked someone one time who did, and I said, "How can you watch that banal chit chat, pretend phony?" That's what gets me is these two people who
the chipper,
right?
Yeah.
Chit chat. I said, "How can you do it?" And my friend said, "I just like having something on in the background."
That's what everybody says. Well, you could have the BBC. How about that? A little bit better.
How about just classical music? If you're not going to increase your brain, listen to something better. I don't get it. It's 11 o'clock.
All right, you snobby elitist. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey guys, I do want to get this in. This is a public service announcement from yours truly. Man, it's been cold, right? A lot of people struggle. These are the taxpayers of Pittsburgh. A lot of people who can't afford to redo bridges because they can't even pay their utility bills. If you need help with your heating bills, People's Natural Gas can and wants to connect you with programs and grants that would help provide energy assistance or lower your monthly payments or help you reduce your energy usage in some way. It is confidential if you check your eligibility. Okay? I'm going to give you a way to check. You can call 1-800-400-WARM, W-A-R-M. 800-400-WARM, W-A-R-M. Or you can go to peoples-gas.com/programs. Just sending that your way if you are somebody or know somebody that could benefit from that. Oh boy, Ruth has let me know that I do in fact travel on the Charles Anderson Bridge quite often. That baby is in Shenley Park. Jesus. Yeah, and when you're in Shenley Park and you're heading from Squirrel Hill into Oakland, it's right near that nice little park, right near Phipps Conservatory. And that goes over a big, big drop. That's into Panther Hollow, right? So that's also in poor condition. Well, now, if you took that away from me, I really wouldn't know how to get where I need to be. I really, those of us in the East End are really going to be stymied. Little Tony says at KDK Radio, there's a guy named Rick Dayton in the afternoon. I don't know. I never would ever trouble my little ears with their crap. And he, I'm being told by Little Tony, advertises for Newsmax every day, praises Trump in every commercial. I can't listen to the guy, mostly because of the advertising by Newsmax. He's also like a fast-talking guy trying to sell you a used car. I have never heard of him. Sounds like a blight. And thanks for warning me away. Not that I would ever listen. And I just want to note this before we leave. It's just beyond belief. There's a guy, his name is Chad Carswell. His kidneys don't work. He needs a transplant to stay alive. They told him he has to get a vaccine, a COVID vaccine, or they won't give him a kidney because his odds, they want to give it to somebody who's not going to still die. So this guy said he won't accept the kidney, which is to say 38 years old. And in an interview with the Washington Post, he said, there is not a situation in this world where I'd get a vaccine. If I'm laying on my deathbed and they tell me you have a kidney waiting on you, if you get this shot, I'll tell them, I'll see you on the other side. He said, it's about standing up for our rights and understanding we have a choice. I was born free and I'll die free. All right, honey, 36. You're 36. You're going to die. You'll die free and stupid as hell. Jesus, God in heaven. That's it for me. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.